Hi everyone, my name is Roshan and I'm a PhD student at the Center for Research on Engineering Software Technologies at the University of Adelaide. And I'm here to present our work on mining questions asked about continuous software engineering, a case study of Stack Overflow. The current software development industry is undergoing a paradigm shift where practitioners are moving away from the traditional software development methods. One of the main reasons for this is the current industry requirement of rapid but reliable deployment of software products. And this is where continuous practices such as continuous integration, continuous delivery, and continuous deployment came into the picture. These practices enabled software to be deployed in a continuous manner from the development environment to production in a very short time period. And continuous software engineering is actually an umbrella term used to capture all of these continuous practices. And this is the focus of our study. Because of the high practitioner interest in this domain, there is a growing body of literature related to continuous software engineering practices. However, many of the previous studies have empirically explored various aspects of continuous software engineering in certain specific organizational contexts, for example, case studies in companies. In contrast, our aim in this study is to investigate recent trends and to gain a broader view of continuous software engineering practices. To achieve this goal, we conducted a mining study on Stack Overflow that attract data from practitioners who work in diverse organizational settings. And to the best of our knowledge, this is the first study that empirically explores practitioners' views on continuous software engineering by mining question and answer websites. To achieve our overall aim, we formed 3 research questions. How successfully are the questions related to continuous software engineering answered in Stack Overflow? What are the dominant, popular, difficult and easy topics of discussion on continuous software engineering in Stack Overflow? And finally, what are the main themes of continuous software engineering challenges discussed in Stack Overflow? Now I will explain the method followed in our study. To extract the posts from Stack Overflow, we use the Stack Exchange API and a tag-based approach. Here, a tag is a word or phrase that describes the topic of the question in Stack Overflow. So, to choose the relevant questions, we had a look at the existing CSC related tags in Stack Overflow and selected the ones mentioned in the table. And using the API, we used these tags to extract the posts. So we did this extraction on September 2019 and extracted 14,251 posts. However, as a single post can have multiple tags, duplicate posts were there in this dataset. So we then removed the duplicates and ended up with 12,989 posts. To analyze these extracted posts, we followed a mixed method approach in our study. Here we first applied topic modeling to statistically classify this large number of posts, and this was followed by a qualitative analysis of a subset of highly ranked posts. I will now explain each of these methods. Topic modeling is an approach used to automatically extract topics out of a corpus of textual data. Here, a topic is a collection of words that frequently co-occur in the analyzed documents. And we used LDA, a popular generative statistical model which is utilized for topic modeling. To apply LDA, you first have to do 2 main things. The first is to do pre-processing of the data, such as removing code snippets, stop words, and to do stemming. We then removed words that appeared less than 10 times in total in the dataset to further reduce the noise. The next step is to determine the number of topics for LDA, and this number would actually determine how many topics that LDA would devise from the dataset. For this task, we use the coherence calculation method of the mallet package, and we arrived at 32 as the value for the number of topics. So after running LDA, we got 32 topics for our dataset, and finally we assigned labels for these topics manually by looking at the top LDA words and the most relevant posts for each topic. We then performed qualitative analysis on the dataset using thematic analysis to investigate the main themes of continuous software engineering and to complement the results of topic modeling. For the qualitative analysis, we ranked all the posts using an accumulator score formula of a previous study. As shown on the slide, this formula is defined based on Stack Overflow attributes such as up and down votes, favorites, comments, and answer counts. And using this formula, we chose the top 200 posts with the highest scores for the qualitative analysis. We then used the thematic analysis to devise the themes of continuous software engineering from these 200 posts. Now I'm going to explain the results of our study. So this image shows the overall trend of posts over time. The red line shows the trend of all questions in our dataset. In green, the unsuccessful questions, which means that these questions have not received any answer. In purple, we have the successful questions, which are the questions with an accepted answer. And lastly, in blue, we have the ordinary questions, which means that these are the questions that have received answers, but not an accepted answer. And as you see in the image, the number of posted questions related to continuous software engineering have drastically increased from 2014. And if you see the green line here, you could see that the number of unsuccessful questions are also having a similar trend, so a drastic increase. So this means that a lot of questions related to continuous software engineering are actually going unanswered in Stack Overflow. So now I'm going to explain the results of the topic modeling in our study. So this image shows the distribution of the dominant topics of our data set. And as I mentioned earlier, we devised 32 topics using LDA, and this image shows the topic labels and the number of posts for each of these 32 topics. Due to the probabilistic nature of LDA, it actually assigns several topics to a post, and sometimes even with close to zero likelihood. So when deciding the number of posts for each topic, we only consider posts that belong to a particular topic with at least 10% chance. And based on these results, you could see that error and log messages in CI/CD was the most dominant topic. And here, this is an example post for this topic, and here you could see that practitioners are trying to figure out the meaning of log messages or error messages resulting from CSC tools, and seeking advice to fix issues related to these error messages. For example, in the sample post, you could see that the practitioner is trying to figure out the reason behind an exemption from a popular tool and seeking advice on how to fix it. Next, we analyze the most popular, most difficult and easiest topics of discussion for CSC posts. To identify the most popular post, we use the average view count of questions that belong to a topic. Based on this method, Jenkins issues and configurations was the most popular topic for our dataset, and in this topic, practitioners were posting questions related to Jenkins functionalities or other configuration issues. So the sample post here is querying about an issue related to Jenkins functionality. We then used the criteria of acceptance rate, the number of questions, the time span for accepted answers to determine the most difficult or the easiest questions for our dataset. For example, if a question had a high time span for an accepted answer, combined with a low acceptance rate and a below average number of answers, we categorized it as a difficult topic. And the topic T27, which dealt with Xcode issues and configurations, was the most difficult topic based on this criteria. The topic T20, which dealt with CI/CD tool comparison, was the easiest topic in our dataset. So the sample post here is trying to get recommendations for a server for continuous integration targeting PHP project. As the result of the qualitative analysis of 200 posts, we defined 3 main themes, and this is through the thematic analysis. So the 3 themes are general concepts and definitions, tool choice of comparison, and finally how to check technical challenges. And as you can see, the largest number of questions were categorized in the third theme, how to technical challenges. And here practitioners were mainly seeking input from the community to resolve specific technical challenges related to popular tools or technologies. For example, practitioners were seeking help to address configuration challenges, tool compatibility issues, error or challenges of setting up the continuous deployment pipeline, and similar technical issues related to tool usage in continuous practices. So this shows that better support for tool usage in this paradigm is a current requirement. We now present some recommendations for practitioners and researchers based on our results. Currently in the industry, there's a large number of CSC tools available. However, as we showed you earlier in our results, a vast number of questions were related to technical questions seeking to address tool-related issues such as error messages. And the problem with this is that the topics with the lowest acceptance rates were mostly these types of questions. So this leads us to recommend better mechanisms to provide support services for such tools. And because of this issue, practitioners were using Q&A forums such as Stack Overflow as a source of discussion about CSC tools. Our analysis also showed that software practitioners are required to use the correct tags when posting content on Stack Overflow. However, our results indicated that there are instances where practitioners inaccurately tag posts, and this might be one of the reasons for low response rates for such posts. So, better support mechanisms for tagging questions in Q&A forums are needed. Finally, even though tools are a central aspect of discussion among practitioners, we find that comparatively less attention has been paid for tool-related issues such as tool support services in related literature. Therefore, there is a need for investigating challenges practitioners face with CSC tool usage and providing tool support services. To conclude, in this study, we have explored 12,989 CSC related posts on Stack Overflow for empirically understanding CSC trends and the practitioner's perspectives. We found that the topics of discussions have evolved from querying general concepts to be more technically specific questions which are more difficult to attract successful answers. We hope that our effort would provide useful insights in different aspects of CSC from a broader lens as compared to the existing company-specific studies. And finally, as future work, we plan to conduct a more in-depth qualitative analysis using Stack Overflow data to gain insights on the key challenging areas of CSC from the perspective of developers. Thank you.